It's one of the most talked about industries over the past year, and for very good reason. The hospitality industry has been through it all this past year, having gone through the global pandemic. But now, as we look to the future, the industry looks to be making a tremendous recovery and will be shining brighter than it ever has before. But how do we do this so that it happens faster rather than later on? The answers to that are just ahead on this episode of Anyline, Anytime. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of Anyline, Anytime. My name is Marc Babin, and I'm so excited to have you all with me for this great episode where we're diving back into the topic of hospitality as they do make a tremendous comeback right now and looking to the future on how companies can future-proof their operations. Now, of course, I don't want to handle this topic by myself, and I'm very excited to introduce everyone to Paulo. Paulo is the owner-operator at Happy Porto, a hospitality property in Portugal that actually started working with us this past year to help elevate their guest experience at the property. Paulo, so great to have you on the episode. Thank you so much for joining the discussion. Looking very much to picking your brain on this topic.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great. And again, thanks for carving out a little bit of time. I know you guys are just getting ready for kicking things off at the property. So really appreciate the time today. So we'll dive right in. So perhaps a really great place to start this conversation is around the constantly changing demands and expectations from hospitality guests. Now, I know from my personal experience in the industry that the only thing a property and operators can truly rely on is that these demands and expectations are constantly changing, perhaps this past year more than they ever have before. I guess that would probably be correct, right, Paulo?
That's correct. More and more the customer wants and demands simplicity great service, and because we're a hostel, we're still doing hospitality. We still need to provide a great service, and we like to have a five-star service. So that's what we try to do here. And Anyline has been helping us a lot because now we can provide contactless scanning of ID. And apart from being a very innovative solution, the customers are really enjoying it, and they feel the advantage of it. They really they are for it.
Yeah. So with all these changing expectations that guests are coming now, whether they have new trends that they're maybe more used to being with a bit more space around them and what have you, how have you seen the guest experience evolve over the past number of years? And then perhaps even, looking at the last year, more specifically, do properties need to change how they operate more dramatically now, or is there more to the story?
I would say we need to adapt, and to adapt, we need to change. So, and we need to improve. So we are part of Clean and Safe Seal, which is a hospitality thing from Tourism Portugal, and we need to provide safety and be clean, of course, all the time with all the disinfectant, all the masks and all. I'm not wearing a mask right now, but I think it's the first time I don't wear a mask for the last 18 months almost. So, say what? Anyline has been providing us this tool, and it's been great for the staff because they don't feel they don't have to touch like 20 or 30 passports a day. Also, the customers, they feel that we start with the safety from the check-in, from the start. We measure the temperature. It's part of the whole process. So this adaptation means the change, and the change came to stay. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking at your situation specifically, because I know that you guys have taken huge steps forward, like you've just mentioned, which is significant for the industry, significant for what you do. Perhaps you could share a little bit about the original problems that you guys were having. I know we spoke about in the past being completely overwhelmed at the front desk with a ton of guest arrivals at the same time. I know that's a common problem for perhaps many of those listening. So perhaps we could start there.
Yeah, so CRM is a paramount thing here. So when customer gets here and doesn't get kind of express check-in, it gets kind of not happy. They have to wait. And we do groups, we do large groups. And this Anyline solution is just helping us a lot. You don't imagine, Mark. I have to tell you, we initially, by law, we have to have a guest book because it has to do with safety, has to do with the fires, has to do with the police. We have to know whoever is here. So we start with that guest book with handwritten. So we have to do it manually with papers. Then we develop a internet solution that we fill a form. Was working, but was not fast enough because sometimes you get 40 people at the same time coming in, like groups from Erasmus, ESN, Erasmus Student Network. We get a lot of other groups, and with this solution, we just scan everyone in, I'd say, 5% of the time we used before. So instead of spending sometimes 20 minutes, 30 minutes, like 30 seconds or even a minute per customer was a lot, because in the end of the day it's 40, and or in the end of the check-in is 40 people, is at least 20 minutes here. Now we do it in 5 minutes, people go right up. We have all the identifications, everything's complying with the law. It's safe, we don't touch any single passport, even the customer turning around is really good. They think, well, what's this? Is this a lab or something? They found us like, what you doing? Are we getting to Tesla? No. No. Just do this because we have to, and we need to be contactless. We need to provide you a service, and we need to be fast and also not annoy the customer. We are not the police. We have to register, but we don't have to control passports, or we have to register them. But yeah, we don't have to touch them. We didn't. Yeah, that's what we do. We try to be compliant with the law and provide the excellent service to the customer.
Yeah.
And then we concentrate in activities like provide them enough information, like the hotspots. We need to answer 3 questions basically: where to sleep, what to do, where to eat. And if we don't have time for that, the customer does not feel the experience. Wouldn't be happy, I think. So we try to give value, and to give value, we have to have the time for it. It's just if we spend the time. Their time, and they get even kind of not annoyed, but not happy about being meeting, then we don't have the time to tell them about our city. I'm just in the reception here in the bar, so we have all these. We have a lot of. I can spend like 2 hours talking about my city.
Awesome.
In fact, it's not the north. I have another one for the Porto. So we have enough. We are locals. We know our stuff. We like to share these things. But if we burn our time, prime time with the customer just doing registration is done. We don't have time for this. So, and we love to talk about our stuff. Yeah. So
yeah, absolutely. So having something that's removed this sort of cognitive process that is required by law and governments to get rid of this process with the data capture like we're talking about here, that allows obviously the guest to get more of an experience from you. But how does the relationship work with your front desk staff and the guests? Is everyone just finding it a streamlined approach? How's the adoption rate? Are people okay with it? How's that working?
Staff love it, okay? And as manager here, I love it because the confidence of reading is so high, is about 90%. We test about 20 other apps, okay? We found Anyline as being in the top 3. And in fact, in top 3 was the top 1, okay? And so we are compliant with the law, first thing. That was the major thing. Second part was being used to, the staff can use it easily, and they love it because they don't do they prefer to be talking about their city. That's why they study tourism, not to be doing admin work like this. And then the reading capability of these MERZ codes, it's just fantastic. I feel comfortable. I trust the information database because it's been read by the system, and it's got a high confidence. I'm confident about the data I have. It's not something that comes in a paper or the customer register, and sometimes they put some names, sometimes they use their nicknames, the short names, and then sometimes they misspell a number, or a letter or something, and then it's not the way it should be. So like that, the process is more accurate and it's faster, and everyone is happier. So that's why I'm saying this CRM improved a lot. And now we have this, we integrated with our PMS. So basically we use this to export our database to the Border Control Authority. It's called CEF, Serviço Estrangeiro e Fronteiras, which is Border Control Authority. It's the police, from the border. And then we feel comfortable, and everything is being automated, So it just
from front to back, really.
Yeah. So we also have knowledge here to integrate this with the database and be able to export with RESTful APIs, XML, JSON. And it's just been fantastic.
Yeah, I love that point because obviously we want to look just beyond the front of house, but you mentioned there are a lot of examples of how it's helped the back of house with the lack of errors. So you don't have to worry about going back and fixing things, exporting certain documents. Was that sort of a happy surprise to it, or was that something again that you were looking to solve?
We're looking for it. We found you, and in fact, we knew the potential of it, but we could not find something reliable. There are a lot of SDKs, a lot of tools available, but not reliable enough.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we know there's some IN there. We know there's some. We did some testing. I would say we got this phishing from different nationalities, phishing passports and IDs from different nationalities. We tested before we approach you. So, and we were sure about what we're doing, and the confidence was quite high. So when we found out that we could use this SDK and we could integrate to our solution, was just the piece was missing here for a long time. So
right,
I'm happy.
The perfect puzzle piece to complete the full picture.
So
No,
sorry, Marc. We were waiting for your solution, and we were waiting as well for the cameras to adjust focus. That's the thing. So also the hardware developed, so it was the right time to do it because we have hardware, the software in the iOS, and also your SDK, and we are just waiting for something like this to happen, and it happened, and we're so happy with it. So
amazing. You mentioned something again that I did want to come back to, and that's this talk around data security, because I know with hospitality and with all that vital information that you have to deal with from customers, having it all digitized, I know that's something that you was very, very important to you, was that security aspect, correct?
Exactly. So I'm owner here of this hostel, but in the past I worked as consultant around the world. I work for big companies. I can't say names because I work for T-Mobile International. I work for Cisco. I work for Nortel, and I did security, a lot of security in major networks, 4G, and that was a key aspect. And when I came to this solution and I saw it, I felt safe. So we use secure servers. We use Kubernetes as well for to increase a bit our capacity in terms of server redundancy as well with the cloud, but always with the safe solutions. And this tool, this SDK, it's just been fantastic because we upload things always with encrypted channels, so with HTTPS, or we also do any interaction, any transaction we do, any registration, any primitive we run, it's always through safe script channels. So, and your tool, your SDK is perfectly aligned with this. So we really like this. Oh, and we harden as well our platforms, and that means we close the ports we don't need, the ports that can be attacked, and also we trust a lot your solution because we've been using, I would say, for 5 months. Now, after we develop our own app based on your SDK, and it just no problems at all. It always reads, always works. As long as you have Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I have to upload, of course. And what's really great about, I know with our SDKs, of course, you can scan it offline, and then as soon as your phone connects, it uploads the data, so you really know it's secure. Yeah, so that's really nice. No, some really great points, because I know data privacy is such a big topic around hospitality in general. Once you mix in this digitized element, I know a lot of people get scared, but you're kind of saying here, you've done the testing with your experience in the background. This kind of solution is 100% safe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we also, I didn't want to say, but there's also the privacy, data privacy. We run our background routines within the database itself, so we don't store anything in the app. We store it we have a local source just for the offline, but then we transfer the database, and the database got routines that deletes, and we are fully compliant with the law, so we don't retain the data more longer than is needed.
Right. Absolutely. So again, coming to that point on that data that's being used now, obviously this kind of brings the whole topic to a full circle of what we're talking about here, but the ability for you to be able to collect data from customers, your own first party data certainly helps when it comes to your operations and your marketing, right? It must be invaluable to be able to have data from your business specific to your needs rather than having to look at third party trends and other data, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. That's 100%. I have nothing to add. It's exactly that.
No, it's absolutely brilliant. Like it's an absolutely great success story, and it hits home really close for me because again, I have so much years in the industry as well. To see something like this not only working, but really, helping to rebuild that guest trust and that guest experience is absolutely tremendous. Paulo, thank you so much for your time today, and also thank you for helping to push the industry forward. I really think that it's proactive operators like yourself that are not only going to bring the industry back to life, but you're going to bring it to a point that it's better than it was pre-pandemic. And I know that means a lot for those in the industry. So again, thank you for being with us today, and thank you for helping to push this forward.
Thank you for your time, and thank you for having such a great solution that made us is enabler. For me, I see it as an enabler of our sector.
Yeah.
So
it really is the next step forward.
Let's spread the love.
Yes. Absolutely. And let's get hospitality back to where it was and even better than it was. Absolutely. So again, thank you so much for the talk today. Really, really appreciate the time.
Okay. Thank you.
Great.
Have a great day.
And for our audience, thank you so much for joining us on this great episode of Anyline Anytime. Hopefully lots for you to take away, lots of notes from this episode. And of course, we're going to have much more information on the website soon that you can check out to get a little bit more in-depth information. But when we're looking at this kind of contactless mobile check-in or how mobile data capture can help the hospitality industry, I think this is a really good case of what can happen when you're proactive and you go after that rather than just waiting to see what happens. So a really great example. A big thank you to Paulo for joining us today from Portugal. It's been great chatting with him, and hopefully you've enjoyed it as well. If you have any questions about anything we talked about on this episode, of course, you can reach out to myself or Paulo. I'll put LinkedIn in the description of the video. Or, of course, you can just go ahead and comment below, and we'll make sure those get addressed. If you want to add to the conversation, feel free to do that there as well. So until the very next episode, again, thank you so much for joining us on this one. We'll see you next time for another great episode of Anyline Anytime. Stay happy, stay healthy. We'll see you soon.